Do you know The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, Chris Tucker, Gary Oldman, and Mia Jovovich? Great. You know Léon the Professional, Natalie Portman's debut with Jean Reno, and more Gary Oldman? Awesome. You know the French action masterpiece Nikita, or the indie favorite about diving, The Big Blue? Great. I don't want to talk about any of those. I want to talk about my favorite Luc Besson movie, and nobody else's, the 1985 Subway. This is a movie I never recommend to anybody, but now I'm on YouTube and I'm recommending it to everyone. Imagine if Alice in Wonderland took place in the Paris metro, and all the characters were weird homeless people, and there was a heavy post-punk vibe. That's a pretty hard sell. Alice is Fred, played by Christophe Lambert, a guy on the run from the mafia, and he's in love with the mafia boss's wife, played by Isabella Gianni, and he really, really hates safes. And when he gets chased into this nocturnal wonderland, he decides the best thing to do is to form a new wave band and throw free concerts. Yeah, it's pretty weird. There have been hundreds of adaptations of Alice in Wonderland over the years. It's a tempting puzzle to unlock. The director has the opportunity for just a wild array of characters, and you plug in everybody you can hire. Now, in the case of Subway, Besson was fortunate to pull a roster of wonderful actors, many of whom went on to be famous afterwards. Fred's White Rabbit is a twitchy roller skating bandit played by Jean-Hugues Anglade, who rose to indie fame in Nikita and Betty Blue. The Cholère, as they call him, guides Fred into the underground and connects him to the characters that he's going to need. The Cholère is defensive and sad to the point that you almost don't mind him making a living out of purse snatching. Our Cheshire Cat is the scurrilous, unctuous florist, played with sleazy élan by Richard Bonger.
Ah, c'est quand même plus gai avec un peu de lumière, non?
The fleuriste makes deals with Fred. He makes deals with a mafia assassin who wants Fred dead. He makes deals with the mafia boss's wife, with the police, with the Cholère. Eventually, he and Fred join forces and they stage a stick-up. Fred, who seems to have no real understanding of how the world works, immediately throws his loot away, but the fleuriste uses his new cash to tell the mafia boss to go.
Oh, tu t'es fait enculer de 505.
Now, if there's a Queen of Hearts, it is the world-weary police commissioner, Jesbert. He even gets his own March of the Cards entrance. Jesbert is probably the most relatable character in this whole movie, and he gets most of the best lines.
Monsieur Batman, auriez-vous l'extrême amabilité d'aller me chercher un petit café avec un nuage de lait et de sucre?
He never yells, "Ah! With their heads!" But he does get to say,
Police, menottes, prison.
He's locked up in his office with a snarky station master played by the venerable Jean Bouis, supported by the incompetent detectives Batman and Robin.
Batman et Robin.
Hey, j'ai perdu mon antenne.
Les meilleurs.
And things only get done when Jesbert leaves the office and he executes with extreme ferocity. I love Michel Galabru in this role. A French friend of mine who hates this film once asked me why I liked it so much, and I had to say it's because the movie sounds like French people actually talk.
Allez, allez, allez.
I love me some artsy French cinema, like talkie directors like Eric Rohmer, but as much as they capture the spirit of French conversation, the willingness to dive into thorny subjects and say outrageous things, Subway is a movie that captures for me the sound of French speech by actual humans. Galabru gets a lot of the best moments.
Fred, pour vous parler franchement, il m'agace, Fred. Alors, vous le cherchez, vous le trouvez, et vous lui faites prendre l'air. Ça ne lui fera pas de mal.
But it's shared around with Christophe Lambert,
J'adore les anniversaires.
Isabella Gianni,
Qu'est-ce que vous foutez là alors?
Jean-Hugues Anglade,
Oh, gros Bill, c'est d'ici que tu devrais te muscler un peu.
and the rest of the cast.
Un petit fin extra, mais personne ne vecte.
So Alice in Wonderland, if I'm using that as a framework to explain this movie, doesn't exactly have a plot either. And when a plot is thrust onto Alice, like in Tim Burton's 2010 Abomination, it feels thrust upon. And that's been an issue for a lot of cinematic versions of this story. Subway solves that issue by couching the real character arc, that of Isabella Gianni's mafia wife, inside the rambling story of Fred's quest to form his new wave rock band made up of homeless drifters. Helena begins as an agent for her mafioso husband, luring Fred in to retrieve some papers that Fred haphazardly stole from a safe during her birthday party. She becomes intrigued by the anarchic lives of the subway dwellers. Now, when she returns topside, she has gone full punk rock. She rejects her husband's lifestyle and that of the successful people in the normal world entirely. The scenes in society are childish, but they are wonderfully fun. It's like Pretty in Pink for grown-ups.
Monsieur le préfet, votre dîner est nul. Votre baraque est nulle. Et je vous emmerde tous.
Helena then dives back down into the metro to try and save Fred with Commissioner Gesbert's help. Now, I often feel like a Johnny gets typecast as a tortured soul, and sometimes she's brilliant at it. Camille Claudel, for example, is a great movie, but here she seems, as in very few other films besides maybe Ishtar, to be having a really good time. Gesbert is unfortunately no help. The establishment cannot break its own rules, so Helena sweeps all of Gesbert's paperwork off his desk.
Why, you're nothing but a pack of cards.
And although she rushes to join Fred, the movie ends on a very Herman Melville kind of note. You can fight the system, and you should. Prepare for disappointment. There is a handful of actors who, despite me not being really into the bulk of their work, do one performance, and I love it. Isabella Gianni is that for me in this movie. Matthew Broderick in Ferris Bueller, Jamie Foxx in Django Unchained, and honestly, that's the case for me here with Christophe Lambert. His Fred is a psychopath and a hopeless romantic. His earnestness in putting the band together is kind of adorable. I love the scene where he and Helena slow dance at the Metro snack shop to Ricky Lee Jones on a Jetto Blaster.
Pourquoi c'est vous que j'aime?
Parce que je suis une fille formidable.
Pourquoi vous m'aimez pas?
Parce que j'en ai pas le courage.
Qui c'est qui fait la cuisine chez vous?
La cuisinière,
Et le ménage?
la femme de ménage.
Et l'amour? Permettez.
But the insane cast of characters, I mean, did I even mention that Jean Reno is in this? I probably should not end this without discussing the soundtrack by Eric Serra. Serra did a lot of Besson's soundtracks. His work on Big Blue and Fifth Element is beloved. His work on the James Bond film Goldeneye is less so. Here, he embodies the 1980s in all of its best aspects. There's a couple of pop songs, which I really love, and there's a lot of moody background noise that suits the movie perfectly. If I had a complaint about this movie, it's the goofy chase scene at the beginning, which is meant as an homage to the French Connection, but it's kind of tired, warmed over bits from the Pink Panther films. So if you're put off by the intro, please be assured you are not alone. Let them get to the subway, because magic happens down there.